here in the large room of our council, as well as those who are online. I'm calling the council meeting to order. It is 7 o'clock, and it looks like we're all here. We stayed after our workshop, and we will proceed as we are asking Jeff Brooks, who is with the Lake Cities Church of Christ, for our invocation. If you'll please stand, and the pledges will be led by Councilmember Luann Hold'em.
Let's bow together. Father God, we love you. We thank you for another day that wasn't promised to us. Lord, we hope that we've made the most of every minute, every hour, to do your will and to make a better place in our city of Trophy Club. Lord, be with this group of leaders as they make decisions. Give them wisdom beyond what the knowledge in their head is, and allow them to just do the very best of their ability to make of our sweet city a place where kindness and goodness and mercy triumph. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, and you may be seated. Terry, do we have any speakers?
No one's handed me any.
Well, cool. We'll just keep rocking right along, and I'm so excited tonight because this is the first opportunity when you look at the opportunity to introduce something kind of new called Community Spotlight. And this is you always have to start somewhere. So this is the first opportunity. And so I would like to introduce to you Jeff Eason and his wife Melissa. And I call them the 605 Indian Creek neighborhood. And I want to tell you, they watch for speeders on Indian Creek. You need to make friends with your buddies here. But anyway, this is their time, and I hope you enjoy the opportunity to meet them.
Thank you, Mayor Tiffany. My name is Jeff Eason. I reside at 605 Indian Creek Drive, as Mayor Tiffany said. I want to say to the council and on behalf of my friends and neighbors, we want to thank y'all for the opportunity and for starting this spotlight. And we hope it does become a feature and some good comes of it and people participate. Mm-hmm. So my friends and neighbors, my wife and I, we were asked by Jeanette to come and speak about our little self-formed neighborhood group within the community that we call Neighbor Night. And it's over on Indian Creek near Fair Green. We've grown to 9 families strong, starting from original 2 with our friends John and Heather Holloman. We're loosely held together, these 9 people. We use messenger apps, we use text messages. It's just being out and about and talking, kids at the park, walking our dogs, but we keep watch for each other and just make sure that everything's going good. The one thing that we are actively held together is by a sense of community. All of us bought our houses here in Trophy Club because it reminded us of where we grew up. It was a community, and that's what we strive for. So we call ourselves Neighbor Night because one night a week, Thursdays typically, we gather and enjoy some company and fellowship in my driveway most of the time. Every once in a while we change it. But we started during the pandemic when lockdown hit. You couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't see anyone, and you had to socially distance. So one night, my wife Melissa and Heather Holloman back there decided, let's get out, sit in the front yard. Kids can play, the adults can talk. And a couple of other neighbors started joining us, and it just kept organically growing. And we've always invited anyone that walks by and says hello, or anyone that wants to come, they're welcome to come. So we started it as the way to solve the stir craziness of all of us sitting in the same house and getting to be able to speak to someone other than your spouse. Not that that's a problem, but And we learned a few things as we went, and as I said, it focuses more on the community. So, we learned a lot about supporting each other. For example, during Snowmageddon, it was anyone that was going to get out and go to the grocery store or the adult beverage store would check in with everyone so that not everyone had to get out. So there were lots of shopping lists exchanged, lots of things like that. Landscaping sometimes for our older people, including myself when I say older. You need some help. People always help. Mow your lawn while you're gone, some shrubs. We actually used a Jeep one time to pull some shrubs out because they were being really difficult for one of our neighbors. That's Holly,
That's
by the
Holly.
way. And we look out for one another, in particular, again, the community thing. I guess you could call it a neighborhood watch or a drive-by. But if one of us is out of town or, the others watch the house, if we see something that doesn't look right, we, look at it, or we text the person and say, hey, this just doesn't seem right. Good example of that was Melissa and I were in South Dakota on vacation. Storm blew through, took out a tree in my front yard, and we got pictures sent, your tree's down. Later that night, we got pictures sent where they had got chainsaws out, done the tree, put it out by the side. It was ready for pickup the next day. So it's that type of organic, just stuff that we like. One of the best things that I think came out of it, we have a couple of elderly neighbors that had newspapers that would be delivered. And it became an organic contest of who was going to get to the newspaper earliest that morning to put it on their front door so they didn't have to come out on an uneven lawn or on the ice. And, it just started sort of as a game. But again, we enjoyed it. And that actually ended up involving other people that aren't even part of Neighbor Night. Just people that would normally walk up and down Indian Creek started helping in that capacity. So we've taught each other a lot about it does take a village, especially with young families, older families. It does take a village. It's teaching younger members just simple things. And one of the nicest things I think we've taught the young kids is how when a car goes by, how you make it honk. So I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but I do want to thank the Trophy Club Fire Department last week for when they honked their horn for the kids. They really enjoyed it. So that was great to see their expression and the look in their eyes that the fire truck honked its horn. So this past April, we celebrated 3 years of doing this. And it's, like I say, it's continued to grow. We invite everybody. And we know our group's not unique. I'm sure there are other groups in Trophy Club that do this. But we encourage everyone to do this. We see social media posts sometimes where people say, I've moved to Trophy Club and I've been here 6 months, but I don't know anyone. Well, go out, knock on your neighbor's door or sit in your driveway with some chairs and invite other people over. And not just on the National Night Out night. Try to make it a more regular occurrence. So in closing, I just want to say, our driveway at 605 Indian Creek, typically on Thursdays, if you come over, we're out there. Anyone is welcome, and, we're happy to have you. Like I say, Jeanette's dropped by a couple of times, and it's always a lot of fun.
They always have a chair.
we do have spare chairs.
And by the way, they have fans right now.
It is BYOB and BYOC. Bring your own chair. And then lastly, one of the things that came out of this too is this group, and I know it's very dear to Jeanette, but 3 of our members, we are the flag captains, and our families actually participate in putting out the flags. We were just discussing that in the back. We've got 2 golf carts, 2 drivers, 2 guys, 2 kids. So we're ready to go Saturday and put those out. So if you're driving by on Indian Creek and see us, feel free to honk or throw water out if you have water. But I do want to say again, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to be the first community spotlight. That's an honor. So thank you very much.
Well, introduce your neighbors, would you mind?
Yes, so in the back, our youngest member is Holly Holloman with her mom, Heather. We have Mary Burnham right there in the lovely orange, and David and Teresa Saja in the back. So that's just a few of us.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
y'all. Give them a hand. Thank you for coming. So,
Jeanette, these neighborhood events are so cool. you know, I know we're back in Canterbury Hills, and we have a similar event. Different in a little bit in that it's called wine and whiskey, so maybe you get a little bit of difference, but somebody hosts it at their house. It's the first Friday of the month, and people come by.
We would
And
like for you to invite them to come and present their,
I will
wine and
absolutely do
Bring
that.
samples.
And
and bring samples.
it really,
Bring
it was
samples.
amazing how it kicked off in COVID and kind of went, you know, like this, but it's just a way to get together, people bring a dish, and somebody hosts it, and the hardest thing for the host is two things. You gotta clean up, and you gotta throw the people out whenever that predetermined hour is. But it's a great way to meet, especially new neighbors.
Okay, Jill, you want to show us, because on the website, y'all, we are working to drive people to the website, so drive them in there. And there is a new, what do you call it? Page. It's not really a page. That you can sign up for your neighborhood. And there it is, Community Spotlight. And all you do is fill out the form, tell us what you want to do. You don't have to go into all the detail, but that you want to. And it's that, we then contact them and put them on an agenda. And y'all get creative about it. There are lots of different ways we can bring people into the community, this community spotlight. Any comments? Any comment?
Great
Anybody, y'all?
idea, yeah.
Okay, but before you leave, you've got to tell us your names. Would you start down there, just in case these people might not remember you, Luann?
I'm Luann Oldham. Nice to meet all of y'all. Most of y'all I know.
And
Carl Monger.
these,
Dennis Sheridan?
Jeanette, Tiffany,
Jeff Beach.
Stacy Bauer.
Steve Flynn.
this is your council, and we are here to work for you, and I want you to feel free to reach out to us, okay? Thank you. Thank you, guys. You can stay as long as Holly is happy. She's happiest in her mom's arms. I do know that. Okay.
I think Jill
Yes.
wants a picture.
Who wants a pic? Oh, you want a picture? Okay. Somebody else come with me. Come on, Jeff. Get down.
Have them come up here right in front of the,
Yeah.
Have them come up here in front.
Yeah, you'll get in front of us.
Oh, up front, okay.
I mean, we can all.
We can all scooch in.
Yeah, perfect, perfect, perfect. Good idea. And so what we'll do is put that, your picture will be on the website in the morning. There you go. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on to item 3, Working for You Trophy Club. And this is where we get updates from the council members, at which time, I'm sorry, number 1.
They will be here in August.
They'll be here later.
Oh,
Sorry,
they're
guys.
not gonna be here.
Sorry, yeah. That's why I went to number 2. Okay, so let's start. Luann, you have anything you want to talk about from a council member?
I want to talk about boards and
Good,
commissions.
go for it.
Okay. I'm so excited. It's open. Let's talk about Trophy Club's boards and commissions. I even made some notes so I won't forget. Trophy Club has seen its citizens step up by showing up for a record-breaking local election in 2023. Let's not lose that momentum. We can do so much more. Trophy Club boards and commissions are made up of you, our people, serving each other, and in some cases, working directly with the town department in an advisory capacity. Commissions make recommendations to the town council. Those recommendations allow council members to hear from you and act on hometown values. Through active listening, our town operations and council have the benefit of considering the members' expertise in our decisions. Our volunteers allow Trophy Club not only to function, but to thrive. Your forward-thinking service allows Trophy Club to evolve while staying true to our core goals: safety, economic strength, and moving forward according to our shared visions. If you're currently in a position and your term is expiring on September 30th, I want to be the first to say thank you, and please consider reapplying. If you're not currently volunteering but are interested in lending your talents to the town, consider your strengths and take action. Search through the town boards and commissions on our website. Research the purpose and see if your experience fits. Gather your information and submit your application. We want to hear from you. Tamara Smith, Assistant to Interim Town Manager Arata, has put together a quick video which shows how easy it is to apply online. The application's link is open now and will continue through August 31st. Either Tamara or Maggie will be following up with each applicant to set an appointment for the last week of August or very early September to visit with the appointment subcommittee of the council. That subcommittee consists of Mayor Tiffany, Councilmember Bauer, and myself. Hope to see many of you at our appointments. Tamara, would you show them how to go online and do that quickly?
Thank you, Councilmember Oldham. My name is Tamara Smith, and I'm going to show you a short, brief video of how to apply for the boards and commissions online. In the search engine, you'll type in TrophyClub.org. This will bring you up to the Town of Trophy Club's webpage. You'll click on the Government tab, and on the menu, the Boards and Commissions. This will bring you to the Boards and Commissions webpage. On the left-hand side, on the bottom menu, you can apply there, or you can apply in the middle. This will bring you to the Boards and Commissions vacancies. On the left-hand side, you'll see that we have all of our boards and commissions. Whichever one that you would like to apply for, you can click on. It'll show you a brief profile, current members, as well as current vacancies. There's two ways that you can click to apply, one in the right top-hand corner, as well as under the position that you would like to apply for in the actions column. The application form is a general form for everyone. It'll have your contact information as well as your profile. Make sure that you, if nothing is pertinent to you, you can put in there NA. Everything is subject to the Texas Open Records Act, and you can allow public access if you'd like to. Make sure that you electronically sign and attach any documents, although it's not required. Once you click submit, a pop-up will come up that says thank you for submitting your application. After that, you'll receive an email. That email will state that a town employee will contact you to set up a scheduled visit. This is with the application subcommittee, which is Mayor Tiffany, Councilmember Bauer, and Councilmember Oldham. Maggie McCormick-Krakowski, as well as myself, will email them at the end of August as well as the beginning of September to set up those visits. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent job.
Good,
Thank you.
that's nice. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carl, you have anything you want to share?
Well, I would just like to
Good.
invite any veterans out there to
Yes.
join us on the 4th of July we have a trailer generously donated by J-Dog Junk Removal. And we'll have it, don't let just Dennis and me be the only two on that trailer. It's going to be hot, but we'll have water and we have more candy than I have ever seen in my life. That's in the back of my car right now, not chocolate, so it's not going to be all melted. But we're going to be throwing it to kids while we're on the parade. So come join us, and we'll be marshaling over in front of the high school. So any veterans are welcome to come right on that. On the second Saturday of the month, which is the 8th, so a week from Saturday, we hold a veteran breakfast at Meet You Anywhere Barbecue, 9 a.m. Anyone is welcome to come. We always have a veteran that tells their story, and we call it the Metroport Veteran Association. Nobody pays any dues, but it's a really good group. Dennis has told his story a couple of times. It's fascinating to hear local veterans talk about their military service and what serving means to them. Anybody's welcome to come, 9 a.m. You buy your own breakfast, but please come out and join us. It's always the second Saturday of the month.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Coming? You went to Santa Fe? No, Taos.
No, that's vacation.
Oh,
This is, don't,
You didn't attend a council meeting there or anything, take notes?
yeah, a council meeting in Taos. That's great. Jeff, you have anything to say?
nothing this week.
Stacy?
Sure. Let's talk about Stars and Stripes. We are getting ready for the 4th of July, which is always a big hit. In Trophy Club, we have one more flag pickup day. That will be tomorrow here at Town Hall from 4 to 6 p.m. If you are an HOA captain, a neighborhood captain, or a street captain, we encourage you to come by and pick up your flags if you turned them in last year. We'll get a date set for returning them in the near future, but flag pickup tomorrow.
Cool. Steve, you have anything?
And it is a great event. I mean, we all look forward to 4th of July, except for the flag planting at 100 degrees, but, you know, it's a
We're
little
praying
hot.
for a little bit of rain.
You pray for a little bit of rain,
Rain.
free 4th of
Rain,
July rain, so nice soft ground. But, yeah, we've got our Canterbury Hills group together, and we've got our 3,000 flags, and it's going to be awesome. And I'll second what Carl said also on the veteran event that they have. I've gone several times, and I'm not a veteran, but I'm always welcome, and it is very humbling for somebody who was not a veteran, who doesn't understand that world really like veterans do. And to listen to their stories is very moving. So I appreciate Carl keeping that going, and it's a great event. If you get a chance, do stop by.
Some of the stories are even true.
Yeah. But we, see, as an outsider, we don't know, so it doesn't matter.
I just want to circle back on the flags. We're not getting rain, y'all, so if you would like to water your yard out by the sidewalk, we would not be.
Water.
Yeah, please,
We
water.
always find out who doesn't aerate.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's right. And or bring your drills.
Yes.
Yesterday, I had an opportunity to attend a women's symposium sponsored by Kay Granger in Fort Worth, and it was very interesting because there was also Maddie Parker, who is the Fort Worth mayor. She was there, and a woman named Dawn Buckingham. Do y'all know who she is? She is the Texas Land Commissioner. And so those ladies had a forum, and there was one common thread that ran through them all, and that it says, working together. So you can imagine, Kay Granger is the chairperson of Appropriations Committee in Washington, D.C. So how does working together sound up there? And then you come on down to Texas, and she said, you know, we're really bipartisan. We're doing pretty good. Come over to Fort Worth, and she said, we're in districts working together. And I said, well, we're in Trophy Club, and we're all in one district. We're all one people. So working together for us is a breeze, right? So anyway, it was a great opportunity to hear them speak and certainly represent their particular areas. So I just wanted to share that with you. And we will go on to.
Mayor, there was one more thing I neglected to say. It's
Okay.
up on the screen, everybody can see it. And that is, if you've gone on our website or if you've heard previous
yeah.
council meetings, we are in the process of hiring a new town manager. Very, very important, critical event for not just council members, not just for staff, but the entire community. And to that end, we're looking for feedback from the community. And you see up on the screen, or if you're viewing in, www.trophyclub.org/engage is where you can go online and just give us some thoughts about the town of Trophy Club, about the town manager. There isn't an expectation that we'll answer all of the emails, hopefully we get a lot of them, but it is one more way for the council to hear from the community about what's important to you in a town manager. So I encourage you to do it. It's open until the end of July.
Good, thank you very much. Next on the agenda is update from the Finance Committee. Who is speaking for the Finance Committee? We have a Finance Committee. Anything? Do we have money in the bank?
Yeah, I think so.
Are you speaking on the Finance Committee?
We can.
You don't have to.
Well, Stacy was supposed to do that.
Stacy?
Yeah, yeah. It's I do.
Y'all are funny.
Okay, we're going to skip the finance committee. We're
I mean,
going,
the short answer is the finance committee is now working on the budget, and we can't really go too far until we get final tax numbers, which will be, what, April, about another month?
there you go.
July, yeah. So that's when we'll get the final numbers. We do have working numbers, but they always change, right? They go up a little, they go down a little bit, depending on who decides to dispute their taxes and whether they're successful or not. But we'll get the final numbers in July, but it's work in progress.
Perfect. Okay, up. Next, then, Communications and Marketing Director Jill Lind will update us on some things that are happening for our communications.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I'm here tonight to give you an update on what we've been doing with our Visit Trophy Club initiative. After receiving approval from Council in December for this initiative, we got to work. We started off by hiring Octagon Media, who's out of Louisiana, and they came into town and did a 2-day site visit where they met with council members, they met with staff, we drove them around town, we met with the hoteliers, toured the hotels, we drove them through our neighboring communities, Roanoke, South Lake, Westlake, we even went further west than that. And then they explored on their own in Trophy Club while they were here. So they did all that during that 2 days. It was a packed couple days. And then they went home and they did further analysis. They looked at analytics and data that the hotels had provided them about their guests. And so they started working on a plan from there. So I wanted to show you guys where we're at. So the first thing we had to do was to work on our assets, which includes how things look and what we have for people when they come to trophyclub.org or to the community to look at. So we created a brand design that would be complementary to what we have in place for the town. They played around with different ideas, and ultimately, we loved the Explore Trophy Club message and what it says. We then took that creative design and parlayed it to the website. We needed to create a better website experience for our visitors who are looking for info. So Octagon laid out a simple yet vibrant landing page that is geared toward our residents and our visitors. We did this by adding what's called a portal page, which is a splash page. So when you go, starting in a month, when you go to trophyclub.org, you'll have this come up first, and people can click on town information or visitor information. The buttons will move and have pagination, and it'll be more dynamic as well, but real simple and easy to find. Then we wanted to create a more robust visitor website experience as well. So these pages will have the Explore look and give business and hotel community information better representation for those who are seeking it. We'll have events, deals, special programs that the businesses or the hotels are putting on, and they'll be feeding us that information. So it'll lay out similar to our town site, but it'll be brighter photos, more specific to the businesses than what we have currently. So that's how we approach the look and experience, matching up on our website. But now we need to talk about the outreach component. And that starts with social media. So we'll be launching 2 new social media channels tied to Explore Trophy Club. One's on Instagram, which will be our first Instagram account, and the other will be a visitor-friendly Facebook page. Like the website, we'll be filling these pages with inspiring photos, engaging reels, and timely business information and events. The last part of the outreach is to launch a full-board digital advertising campaign. This will include targeted media buys, and these ad buys will be geared towards the identified target audiences, which include outdoor enthusiasts, affluent and upper middle class families, and business travelers. So the next steps, we anticipate the website assets and social media launching the last week of July, I hope. Once we do that, then we'll get to work on the social media outreach and the digital advertising. And in the meantime, we're going to be setting up meetings with our hoteliers and businesses, showing them the work that we're doing, talking to them about how we can work together, them feeding us information, pushing information out for them, and hopefully working together, this will be successful for everybody. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Go.
Jill, could I get a copy of that calendar? the ad
Absolutely.
campaign, please?
Yes,
Thank you.
Other comments?
Are we able to use hot funds for this?
100%.
Have you looked at possibly engaging the Nextdoor app for some of this?
We haven't, but I'll definitely talk to Octagon about that.
Jill, you talked about engaging businesses, right? How were those going to be selected? What's the process?
So we have a list from community development of all of our existing businesses. And so our priority of building the backside of the website right now is the hotels, obviously, restaurants, dining, and then we're kind of going through the rest of them and categorizing what is a visitor looking for, that kind of information. We'll probably end up putting everybody in there in some sort of category to be represented, but we're targeting the businesses first right now that are like places that folks will be looking for when they come to town. Any questions?
And so how are you going to put this out into the businesses? Are you going to invite them in to see something like this?
Yes, so the plan is we're gonna take this list that Matt's team has provided us. We're gonna kind of put like a little meet and greet together here in Town Hall, invite them all, show them the presentation. Hopefully we'll be a little further in the next couple weeks, and I can maybe show them on the backside what those pages would look like. We're busy filling those right now, which is a little tedious with all the extra steps we have to do for it. But show them and then explain to them kind of how it's a work together situation. If you've got a guitarist coming on Friday night and you're doing a special event that the public's open to, tell us, let us know, and then we'll push that out on the social channels and we'll put it on the website pages. And then for more bigger, broader things like the motocross events that we have, those are audiences that we're definitely going to target. So we know when those are coming in advance, and we can do some of our advertising buys based around those groups to those groups that are coming to those events. So it's kind of a multifaceted look.
And so I'm assuming too, our pool complex and all of that will be a part of this.
The pool
kind of
complex at this
advertising?
time is for residents only
Oh,
unless
okay,
it's,
okay, got
they have a guest come with them.
Okay, but it's, yeah, okay.
But
it's still
Definitely something to think about for the future.
Yeah, okay, cool. Any other comments? Good, good job. Thank you. July the 4th, get ready for your,
Well, I know we've already talked about it a few times already, but July 4th is coming next Tuesday to us, so let's get ready. The day will start with a 5K run at 7:15. So following that, we're going to have awards, and we'll roll right into the parade. So people will start lining up between 8:15 and 8:30 for the parade, as Mr. Ronger already talked about. We have 32 floats already, and we're accepting applications until Friday, June 30th. So if you still want to be part of it, please get with us before Friday. The Parks and Rec Board is waiting for your application. After the parade starts promptly at 9:30. It goes through the town, loops back around to the high school. And as Mr. Mog already commented, there will be candy dispersed, I won't say thrown, dispersed from floats as they drive by with everything. So please come out and enjoy that day with us. And later in the afternoon at 6:30 or 6 o'clock, the activities, the celebration actually starts. Right now, we're going to have about 25 vendors between food trucks and jumpy toys and things for the kids to play on and other activities related to what we do during that day. And then 9:30 is when we'll shut the lights off, the music will stop, and then we'll get ready for fireworks about 9:45. So in this year, we're actually adding between the band, when the band takes a break, elementary school kids are going to get up and do a little song for us and do some presentations through several of those breaks. So it's something new we've added. And this will be our second year of adding music and food back on after the fireworks show, so people don't have to rush out and leave the venue right after the fireworks show. So it's sort of help people to relax and wind down before they have to rush to their cars. But we'll put the music back on for about 15, 20 minutes and still open up the food trucks again, so you can get a last bite or drink before you leave for the night. So, any questions on July 4th? We want to invite everybody to come out. This is our biggest community event of the year. Everybody's in town is there. We have a really great turnout. And hopefully, I heard the weather today, it's not going to be as warm as it's going to be over the next several days. So hopefully that day we get a tiny break. I don't think any rain, but a tiny break. So, thank you. Any questions or anything?
y'all have any questions? I do have a question. Do each of you know how you're going to be presented in the parade? Everybody lined up? You ready to go? Okay.
I'll be on the better foot.
I know, you did, so, and that's
Thank you.
good.
All I ask for
The-
is no publicity, just
I
let me
know.
blend in with the
Just-
veterans.
That's it.
Carl will be up front.
I know, that's
Okay.
good. But we know you're there. That's the most important thing. That's
Thank you.
perfect. That's great. Okay.
All right, I'll move
Next.
right into the manager's update. So we'll start talking about the budget real quick. I know Councilman Flynn gave a short update of the subcommittee. We actually hold another meeting tonight after the council meeting. So we are moving right into budget season, and we're not slowing down, so there is a meeting tonight after this meeting. Some of the things we're discussing next month, July 11th, we're actually having a CCPD meeting where we'll approve the CCPD budget before it comes to council. So we had a meeting last month where we talked about what items CCPD was looking at and things like that. So we'll have the meeting to approve that on July 11th at 6 p.m. We're working with EDC right now to set up their board meeting to approve their budget for the upcoming year. Those are the two boards that have a budget that has to be approved before it comes to council. So we don't have a date set for that yet, but hopefully we will here in the next week or so. Contracts, we're reviewing all of our current contracts regarding budget, so those are coming to finance for us to review for the following year, so we stay on top of all those things and make sure they're reviewed properly. And then the MUD ILA we'll have to talk about here in the next meeting. So, projects, pickleball. So we've reviewed the pickleball contract with the vendor. Pickleball was slated to go in the area between the current tennis courts on Harmony Park and the bocce ball / basketball area right there, where the walkway goes through with the trees. It doesn't fit. So I've asked the vendor to stop, give us an opportunity to re-look at the placement of the pickleball courts. So we're in the process of reviewing that right now. We're talking with the Parks the Parks Director, and we're gonna take it to the Parks Board and get a lot of input from the citizens that are associated with pickleball. We're getting a lot of feedback on their ideas. So we've slowed the program down. It hasn't stopped, but we've slowed it down. We're reconsidering where we're gonna place it. And once we have a better idea of where we should put it and how it's gonna fit, we're gonna come back and bring that to you. So that's where the pickleball process stands right now. Any questions on that? I know that's been a hot topic. I've gotten a lot of emails, so I just want to make sure the community knows we've not stopped the program. We're putting it where it should be appropriate and easy and best to go. So, sounds good. The pool project, the pool is up and running. Phase 1 is completed. We have a few tweaks we have to make. We're reviewing phase 2 to make sure that it's going to be appropriate. And so we're actually talking to the vendor about that too. So we may move some of the items around from where they were originally shown to you. One of them right now we're talking about is the slide. The slide was slated to go on the edge of the property where the kiddie pool is right now, to do away with the kiddie pool completely. We're looking to move that to the center where the pavilion was going to go. Put it there, keep the kiddie pool, put the pool there, and then put the pavilion over by the other side. I forget, I'm sorry, the splash pad. So we're talking to the vendor about that right now. And I don't know if it's gonna have any cost changes to that. Nothing's been done yet. But I think not removing something we already have and adding to the facility, I think is gonna be a better move for us. So we've asked the vendor to look at that. We've looked at the pool. I've spent some time over the last couple of weekends looking at the usage of the pool. And now that we got the little kiddie slide working, it's dramatically increased the usage of that pool. So I'm not sure if we want to remove that asset from the pool area if we don't have to. So we'll have an update on that at the next council meeting also. So the police fence around the parking lot's completed. There's 2 more little security features we're adding for badge access and Opticom access. Those are coming when the parts come in, but otherwise it's completely up and running and working fine, so thank you for that. And that pretty much does my update.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
How much damage did the fleet take during that recent hailstorm?
We're assessing that right now, but just about every police car and some of the parks trucks have all had damage. So we don't have an estimate yet, but I know Captain Woodard is working with HR, with Denise, to put that information together. I think last year's storm cost us about $50,000 in repairs. So, and but I think we have more vehicles hit this time.
And because I don't know everything, were those vehicles that were parked?
In our parking lot?
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
that's what I'm, thank you.
Yep, thank you, sir. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Council just recently received a email from somebody, one of our residents, about overnight parking on the street. Could you briefly, there is a method of handling that. Could you update us on it,
Yes, absolutely.
please?
So we have an ordinance that does not allow parking on our streets from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. There is a 90-day permit, one time a year, allowed to be received by citizens. You go through THAD at our front desk to get that permit. We do that a lot here during the summer. People get their 90-day permits. There are a few grandfathered in lifetime permits. I think we're down to 5 or 6. I'll have to ask THAD. We started off with 14 when we changed the ordinance, and that has dwindled down over time as people left the city, the town. So, but there are also accommodations through the police department. The chief is allowed to give up to 7 days of overnight parking. So if you have somebody that has a guest over, they can call the police department. We put you on a special list to say that you are allowed to have overnight parking on the street. But at least we're aware of it. The fire department will know about it if there's somebody parked on the street. So, does that help?
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank
Thanks
you.
for asking that.
I know that's a nutshell, but thank
No,
you.
no, that's good. Anything else?
Chief, just one more comment. It sort of relates to that. If you haven't used the police department when you're out of town, I would highly recommend you do that. They are super efficient. We used them when we were in Alaska, and lo and behold, we saw something on our wing camera, and there they were. And I'll tell you what, it makes you sleep better at night. So if you haven't used that asset, please do.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. That's our vacation watch, and it really does work. You can use the online form to request that service. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. We're going into the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the June 13th, 23?
I move to approve the June 13th, 2023 Town Council meeting minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Jeff seconds. Is there all in favor? All opposed? Passed. Go into the individual items, and we will, this is, y'all, a beginning discussion. Don't look at it any other way, except we're beginning to put out information for us to consider along the line on short-term rentals. And David, our attorney, will do this for us.
Hello, Mayor and council members, and I have this slide briefly as a general description of process we're starting here tonight. You see tonight's meeting where we're first talking about short-term rentals, then I'll go through in a minute some of the legal cases that are currently pending and already out there, then some of the steps we will take. Obviously, the next step is gather input from citizens, staff, whoever, other cities. And then we can have a workshops, or anything on the ordinances or different things we want to go through. And then the final item would be a council vote. I don't have dates up here because I'm looking for some input and direction from y'all here tonight. So I'll start with the legal cases. The ones that have just come out and completely banned short-term rentals townwide, those are getting struck down. And the legal cases I'm talking to you about tonight relate to cities and towns. There are a few going through the systems on HOAs, which is a totally different legal consideration because they're not governmental entities, so some of the constitutional issues are different. They're much more contractual based on the terms and conditions of the HOA. So much like a lot of our codes and our code enforcement issues here in town, any short-term rental or any ordinance we draft would be in effect the same as an HOA regulation. The HOAs would enforce their regulations and the town would enforce ours, but obviously the most restrictive would apply. And if theirs is more restrictive, it'd be an HOA enforcement. If ours is more restrictive, it'd be a town enforcement. The last round of ordinances, I'll call it, that have come through Dallas and Fort Worth went through and passed based on zoning districts. And they outlawed short-term rentals in single-family districts was the headlines and the main part of that. That's an interesting concept, and I like that. and that's something to watch and something we can consider as it goes through. Fort Worth has been sued by an alliance. I don't believe Dallas has yet, but they've been threatened to, or that should be coming. So those will be the cases we're watching as this goes through. What I like about the zoning districts, it's much more established law. You've got a lot more zoning laws out there than you do short-term rentals. We have a planning and zoning commission. We have a comprehensive plan. We have a zoning ordinance. We've been preparing for this for a while, and really one of the main purposes of zoning, I know we have quite a bit of experience from the Planning and Zoning Commission on council. I like that also, but it's what uses go compatible in a district. One of the challenges of that is a lot of our town is a planned development with different planned development ordinances, so we have to make sure where they are and what they allow and what they don't allow. Well, one thing I would suggest we look at as we go through this is tying short-term rentals to zoning districts that allow hotels. I think that's a much more comparable comparison. Grapevine's case got in a little bit of trouble. They banned short-term rentals, but allowed bed and breakfasts. And that's a little bit of a difficult, that was part of their case. That's a bit of a difficult distinction, I believe, if you look at the uses and things like that. The next step for this, as I have up there, is gathering input. There's a lot of different ways we can do that. We can get concerns from citizens, staff, elected officials. We can talk to other cities, see things they've dealt with. I've looked at a few other ordinances. We can look at other ordinances. The goal here is to see the problems. What are the short-term rentals creating? Because if the problem is parties or trash or things like that, we have other ordinances already that can address loud parties, gatherings, and Councilman Sheridan brought it up again, parking could be an issue. If you have quite a few people parking at a short-term rental for a holiday weekend, tournament weekend, I don't know what the purpose is, that would be something to consider. If we look at the problems, we may already have ordinances on the books or something that we could tweak that's not just specific to short-term rentals, and that's going to probably keep us out of court on things like that. So that's some of the things we're going to be looking at. I've seen short-term rentals in other towns and cities. They rent a house for a short term, they're photographing a catalog, filming a commercial, filming maybe a movie or something. That creates a whole different issue because you've got catering coming in, you got crews coming in, you got actors coming in. That's really using a residence for a business. So we can look at our occupation ordinance for not using operating businesses like that in a residential. These are all things just to start the conversation and things to look at on there. And then I'd also look for some direction for things like that, but also for workshops or what steps y'all want to take next or where we want to go for things like that.
Comments? Dennis?
David, do you have an idea? Oh,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
Sorry. Do you have an idea of how many hotels we have in the planned districts currently?
Hotels?
Yes.
Well, I mean, you can see the hotels here in town.
And this is PD 27.
PD 27, PD 30 has them, and I'm not sure if they're PDs or if they're straight zoning. That's what I need to sit down and go look. It's really more what in those districts would be used as short-term rentals. PD 30 is the one that comes to mind because you could do a short-term rental in the apartments or the townhomes possibly, something like that.
Dennis?
Couple things. I've been trying to use the word short-term rentals because I don't want to identify any specific company or whatever, wanted to be broad brush. But is there a definition of what a short-term rental is?
That would be part of what we
All
go
right,
through.
then that's
The standard that's been going through is 30 days or less,
Okay.
and we can look at numbers, and as long as we have a rational basis to identify it.
Okay.
And
Well,
that'll be a big part of our process.
right, and that's why I'm saying, I'm trying to get ahead to get to your workshop and stuff like that, and that's the one, start with a definition of what we're talking about.
So we have to create our own definitions.
Well,
Somewhat.
if there, no, it doesn't have to.
We can use other examples, but we do have some leeway, and we'll have to,
Well, yeah, it's specific for.
it's something to talk
Club.
about and evaluate, and
Right,
why
right.
is ours shorter than others.
Right, yeah.
As long as we have to have reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know that the town does not regulate HOA stuff, but at the same time, I'd like the HOAs to be involved in this if they would
That's-
like to be,
That's why we're starting a
Need to
process
do
for
that.
input and everything else.
because they may be able to do something. And if you think about it, half of Trophy Club's under an HOA, but mainly
Is
the
it?
PDs,
Yeah.
right? So the other half is not. The HOA was dissolved many decades ago. But they may be able to institute something the town can't. But
Well,
I would
and-
like them to cooperate, or us to cooperate with them, type of thing. The zoning district that you were talking about, that's similar to what Dallas and Fort Worth just started,
That
right?
those are the cases that are going forward
Right,
right
and
now.
they just started legal process. In this entire conversation, I sure would like to avoid legal processes. But at the same time, at least get something started. How long do you think that'll take to get through?
Those court cases?
Yeah, 3, 4, 5 years? Well, okay, we just went through Grapevine. How
I'm
long
going to go
did
at least,
Grapevine take?
Grapevines was 2 to 3 years.
2 to
Now,
3
I'm going to
years
say,
from the-
COVID had a big effect on the courts. They weren't meeting and cases weren't getting handled, so that's a little bit of a
Okay.
outlier. Also, it's the second round of these cases, so some of the issue, may not have as many issues as you had in the first
Okay.
one.
Well, my
it could be a little
mind is
quicker.
to start one is to start the conversation. We don't have a problem that I'm aware of from talking to some of our police department. But at the same time, in talking to staff, there was only one known short-term rental. Well, then you talk to staff again, and maybe there's more than that.
It may depend on the weekend, who's,
You know, if you go online, which the wife did, and showed me some houses in Trophy Club that I've never seen before. And I'm sitting there saying, gee, anyway. But there are short-term rentals here. So I want to get ahead of the game before any problems go, so that we could do what we need to do. And it may take a long term. It may be this process and then delay it again, so that we avoid any legal aspect of it. The other thing is, I just discovered in this process is, Trophy Club requires any rental of a house, long-term, short-term, whatever, to be registered. Well, I don't know how that occurred or whatever, but, and I don't know if that's by ordinance or how it does, but I was surprised, because I've lived here for many years and did not know that.
Is that,
yes, ma'am, it's by ordinance, and it's not, it doesn't
Not-
distinguish, it does not distinguish between long-term or short-term.
Okay, but I want to bring that up so that that's part of the conversation that we have,
And-
all right?
One tweak to that we've gotten because of notice of a citizen recently, I think we need to require all owners and anybody with a possessory interest to sign off on the registration. And the reason I'm doing that is because part of the registration is they're signing off, they've seen the ordinances and received a copy of it, and they're on notice of everything they're required to do.
And the other question is, and what that brings to mind is, as a citizen, how do I know I'm supposed to do that? No one's ever said it or
Publicize it.
whatever. So that brings to mind. And then I'll shut my mouth and try and listen to the others.
Like I answered one thing, we were talking about avoiding the legal courts and everything. I think the first focus is, as I said, what are the problems? Are they parties? Are they parking? If we focus on things like that, those are ordinances that are going to apply in situations other than short-term rentals. And I think we can address the issues, the problems that are causing our citizens without going into a ban or something like that.
But the other thing would be in considering, once I see the ordinance, which I have not seen yet, but do we need to separate out short-term or long-term? Does it matter? And how we treat them, or how do we do it? Now, long-term, you can't use for hotel tax, but
I was gonna say,
short-term, maybe you can.
That-
So there's,
That's the one difference on the registration is the short-term rental registrations I've seen.
but the other
They
thing is,
acknowledge that they owe hotel occupancy tax.
as a sideline, I would like to have somewhere in here, and that is, I'm concerned with creating something that's going to create another staff overhead and it's going to blow the budget. That's not my intent.
Understand.
But, if we need to hire 2 more people just to keep track of this stuff, well, I'm just expanding my mind, okay?
Thank you.
Not to mention, and if we enact something like that, we have to be able to enforce it.
and no,
Right. Yeah.
I think my thing is we start to enforce things and we go back to Dallas and Fort Worth, who've had bans. These court cases are going to be tied up for the next 2 to 4 years because they're going to be appealed in the higher courts
Yes.
and then possibly sent back.
Correct.
I don't want to put us in a position that we are dragging something out over the course of the next 3 to 8 years, because that's the time frame that you're looking at.
Waiting on the cases.
Yeah, that's something, if we look at the Tar case or the Bryce case, we don't want to get caught up in that. Second, going back to the resident that had the issue with
Registration.
the registration, is that something that we can take care of
Yes, I looked at it again.
without council approval, or is that?
No, I
something-
think it's a requirement in the ordinance, the registration ordinance, so we may need to tighten that up a little bit to require all. It says owner, but we have to say all owners.
I'd like to
accessory
define what owner actually meant.
interest. Okay, there are some definitions in ours.
You know, if that mortgage deed is how is that presented and
it's-
worded correctly?
Two of the distinctions we have in our ordinance currently are resident owner, which is someone who lives in a house and rents a room, versus non-resident owner, which they own the house, but they don't live in it, but they rent it out. But we could add others. too.
Yeah, I think that language needs to be clear to cover all of ourselves, basically.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, very nice. We have now opened the discussion. So let's go to future agenda items. That's you, Patrick, again. Don't you feel
Mayor, council.
very important?
I'm just going to hit on some of the ones that we have right now. Hogan's Glen, we're just waiting on a response from them to move that item forward to finish that. The charter review item that we have on here, are we still considering impaneling a charter review committee?
I put that on there, actually, and I believe that with our new site on our board and commissions, we're going to focus on the ethics committee to help.
Okay,
And so I'm thinking that can be removed.
Okay.
Because it will be taken care of.
right, yes, okay. I'll take that one off. Short-term rentals, we're dealing with that issue right now. The town staff action on the trash baskets and the drainage, we'll deal with that on the budget committee. Tonight, we'll talk a bit about
Good.
that one.
Good.
That's pretty much it for now, for the short-term rental, unless you want to talk about the flashers again. I know we had that discussion the last meeting about the roundabout.
Jeff, do you have?
Talking about number 3.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, number 3.
Yes. In reviewing that before the last meeting, there was a kind of an aha moment that came up, and Matt is doing some additional research
Okay.
to find out if there is a better way than the one that we had brainstormed earlier.
Okay.
And Matt, you haven't gotten any responses yet, have you?
No.
No. So this is something we probably won't have information back until, when? Towards the end of
Okay.
July?
Okay,
And then we can come back and readdress it.
okay. And then the strategic plan, I think we'll try to put on a workshop later on for that one, number 1.
Good.
Yep.
Yes.
Patrick, you could delete number 4.
Okay,
I mean, I think we've resolved that. We have had the meetings and
okay. Yes, all right.
And then I have a question about the Hogan's Glen drainage. What's the anticipation of closing that with
They
a,
have a board meeting where they're going to consider it, and I'm sending him, Pat Curry, the minutes
Okay.
that were approved on the consent agenda first thing in the morning.
okay, cool. All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Anybody want to add anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mayor, if I may, Patrick, next future meeting, can we have an update on what's happening with the parcel of land next to HG Supply? I know there's been appraisals, I know we've got them back.
Right.
Where do we stand on that? I think EDC might be involved, but just,
Yes. As I've mentioned in the mayor and the manager's update, we're going to have a meeting with EDC to do their budget. We're also going to bring that item up and then set up a joint meeting with council and EDC to discuss that. They're still interested in it. Yep. Yeah.
Other comments? Luann, anybody? Stacy?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I think you had an item from the work session that we were going to bring up on the.
Yes, I know, yeah, you're correct. So what we want to do is consider and take appropriate action regarding this.
Well, there was
Yeah.
something to add to the
No,
agenda.
it was on the Arts Committee, I think.
Yep.
thought that was a future agenda item rather than the appointment. Is that right, Dennis?
Well, I thought we were going to have two motions. One was for the motion for our finance committee.
And that's on the next agenda item.
Yeah,
Right,
that's on
but the
Number
public
7.
arts would be on the next agenda, so it'd be on the future agenda.
Okay. Okay, that's future
Where
agenda.
it's an agenda item.
Okay.
Are we on number 7?
We're on number 7, yes.
Well, if we're on number 6,
We're
we
still
need
on
to
number
add
six.
the,
To
This-
add an item to the future agenda list.
Okay, there you go.
for the arts.
Okay, got
committee.
it. Okay. So that goes to the future agenda.
Yes, I would like to add that to our future agenda items, the arts subcommittee.
There you go, okay.
Is there
Second?
I'll
support?
second.
Steve?
Steve, you second that, okay. Okay, good. Okay, we'll go to item 7, consider and take appropriate action regarding discussion held in today's workshop. And I believe we have,
I have a motion for that,
okay,
Madam Mayor. Make a motion to approve council members Dennis Sheridan, Carl Monger, and Steve Flynn to the Finance Subcommittee.
is there a second?
Second.
All those any discussion? Any
Well,
discussion?
one thing that I think we need to do is, because of the fumbling we had earlier on who's going to make the report, somebody should be the chair.
Thank you.
So we also
talked
need to
about
identify
that.
a chair of that.
So who would like, you want to appoint the chair now? Or do y'all want to do that on?
I don't think, we can talk about it when we
Okay.
do our meeting later on, and
Okay.
then we can come back and
I
add that.
agree with that. That was one of the items. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we will convene, it is 8:01, into an executive session. And Terry, would you mind reading what we're going to be doing before we get up, please? Thank you.
Certainly. Item 8, pursuant to the following designated section of the Texas Governmental Code, annotated Chapter 551, Texas Open Meetings Act, the town will recess into executive session to discuss the following. A, Section 551.074, personnel matters to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee. 1, town manager, 2, town secretary, 3, town attorney.
Thank you. It's freezing.
Yes, sorry about that, I turned it down.
Enjoy it. You're all going to walk outside shortly.
Okay, the council will reconvene into regular session at 9:19. Is there a motion in regards to the executive session?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. The motion is to terminate the town attorney contract effective immediately per the notice provision in the current contract.
Is there a second?
Second.
Carl Munger seconds. Is there discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? Motion passes. Abstained, two abstained. Okay, two abstained is Jeff and our friend Stacy. And so motion passes. And we are adjourned at 9:20.
You need to
Oh.
provide direction as discussed in executive session.
Okay. Would you do that,
Direct.
please?
You'll direct staff to go out for RFQ.
Okay,
So staff, yeah, so follow up to that, staff will go out with an RFQ as discussed in executive session.
is that good? All good?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Dennis? Okay, good, thank you.
You got to do your math.
What time?
Oh, 9:20.
And we still have a finance committee meeting now?
Yeah, I guess you do.